Good morning. It's Saturday, July 13th. I'm Lisette Nunez in the Fox 5 newsroom. Thank you for joining us live on the Fox local app. Well, a candlelight vigil is being held tonight in memory of Yazmeen Williams. She's a 31-year-old woman whose body was found inside a sleeping bag in Kips Bay. 55-year-old Chad Irish has been charged with her murder. Officials say that prior to her death, surveillance video shows the two arguing and Irish threatening to shoot her. And no verdict has been reached in the first day of jury deliberations in the corruption trial of Senator Bob Menendez. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. The senator is accused of taking bribes and being a foreign agent for the Egyptian government. Deliberations will resume on Monday. And checking the forecast for the weekend, today rounds of showers and storms with a high of 82 degrees. Tomorrow the rain does clear out, but the hot and humid weather sticks around. Temperatures will be in the 90s. And shocking moments inside a New Mexico courtroom as the involuntary manslaughter case against Alec Baldwin is dismissed. The judge dismissing the case with prejudice, meaning it cannot be filed again. Fox 5's Teresa Priolo breaks down how the years-long saga came to a close.
The state's discovery violation has injected a needless, incurable delay into the instant jury trial. Dismissal with prejudice is warranted to ensure the integrity of the judicial system and the efficient administration of justice. Your motion to dismiss with prejudice is granted.
Alec Baldwin breaks down in a Santa Fe courtroom as a judge hands him his freedom with the assurance the case against him is wholly and forever dismissed.
The judge actually found that it was not only exculpatory evidence, evidence that would tend to corroborate that Alec Baldwin, in fact, might not have actually pulled the trigger, as he has always said, but it was in fact deliberately withheld.
Baldwin was on trial for involuntary manslaughter for the death of cinematographer Helena Hutchins, who was killed with a prop revolver during a rehearsal for the low-budget Western. Friday was day 3 in the trial when, out of the blue, evidence was revealed in court that may have proven Baldwin's innocence. Baldwin's team claimed there were reports of live ammunition on the Russ set, and that report was given to local law enforcement after the shooting, but never to the defense team. The bullets were apparently different than the ammo that was tested on set, but the live ammo itself was never tested, and so there's no way to know if it came from the same gun Baldwin was holding.
Someone without the means of Alec Baldwin might not have been able to uncover that information and bring that before the court mid-trial. And so I think that it likely, we know it happens. We know that it happens more often than we're aware.
Baldwin's trial follows that of Rust armorer Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, who was convicted earlier this year after failing to do her job to secure the set. The dismissal also follows a wild day of in-court proceedings, including the resignation of one of the special prosecutors and the cross-examination of the remaining special prosecutor, Carrie Morrissey, who claims she did not know the evidence existed. She spoke after court.
I believe that the importance of the evidence was misconstrued by the defense attorneys, but I have to respect the court's.
Well, thieves are targeting people wearing expensive watches here in New York City. Police say there have been at least 6 different robberies in Manhattan and Brooklyn going back to March. In each case, the victims were approached by a number of individuals with guns, and they walked along the sidewalk. Many of the watches were worth between $30,000 and $100,000. The thieves also took off with iPhones and cash. Anyone with any information, please call Crime Stoppers. And an off-duty firefighter says it was by the grace of God that he was able to rescue a teen that was hit and pinned under an SUV in Brooklyn. On Thursday, 19-year-old Suri Mesa was hit by an SUV and pinned under the tire at the intersection of Neptune Avenue and East 12th Street in Brighton Beach. An off-duty firefighter, his name Jose Cristales, happened to be sleeping in his nearby home when he was woken up by his sister and rushed to the scene. With the help of a nearby construction crew, they were able to pull the unconscious teen from under the tire. Cristales then started performing CPR.
So it's better the mixed scenario because, yeah, I get the pat in the back. We all get the pat in the back for everything that we have done, but it's also like the feeling of how is she going to do? How is she doing?
Yeah, pretty incredible work there. The 19-year-old is in critical condition. Well, Nassau County could become one of the first places in the tri-state to implement a mask ban. The move comes in response to a rise in anti-Semitic attacks. Fox 5's Jessica Formoso has more on the proposed bill.
Nassau County legislator Mazi Pillup has introduced a bill that would ban face masks in public.
It's about safety.
The Republican legislator says the ban has to do with hiding your identity, saying many of the attacks against the Jewish community recently are committed by those hiding behind a mask.
Jewish people being attacked by face-covered protesters. I'm calling them terror supporters, to be honest, intimidating and physically assaulting our Jewish community.
The policy, she says, is focused on those who intend to cause harm. People who wear a mask for health or religious reasons would be exempt.
I have a faith in our law enforcement. It's going to be so clear. If the woman is walking on the street with mask, we know she's not here to do something bad. We're talking about those rallies, massive rallies. They're coming covered face. Nobody knows who they are, and intimidating and physically assaulting our Jewish community. And that's the reason why we're doing this.
Leaving it up to police discretion. Violators could face up to a year in jail and or pay a $1,000 fine.
I think it's ludicrous to try and push something like that through.
How are you going to know?
I see one side going with masks and lighting things on fire, and I see another side going with flags, no masks, right? And just fighting for what they believe in.
Just last month, Governor Kathy Hochul announced a possible partial mask ban on New York City subways, also due to the alarming uptick in anti-Semitic crimes. The Nassau County Regional Director of the New York Civil Liberties Union opposes the ban, saying in part, "This is a transparent attempt to target political action, and police will pick and choose when to enforce it. This puts people of color and protesters who the government disagrees with in its crosshairs. Police are not health professionals, and they should not be in charge of deciding who needs a mask and who doesn't." Now, the bill has the full support of the Republican legislative body. If passed, it could become law in August. In Mineola, I'm Jessica Formoso, Fox 5 News.
The NYPD has sworn in one of its first deaf interns. The college student will help officers understand what it's like to interact with the deaf community. Fox 5's Michelle Ross brings us his inspiring story.
I do hereby pledge and declare.
The NYPD swearing in one of its first deaf college interns.
If it wasn't for NYPD or the education that I received, I wouldn't feel confident. I wouldn't receive the knowledge that I have today.
Heriberto Almonte lives in Brooklyn, but he's originally from the Dominican Republic, where he says his experiences growing up were difficult because there was no school for him in his home country.
People would come up to me and say, "What's my name?" There was no way for me to express that because I had no language. Here in New York City is where I was able to learn a language. And here in the United States, there was access to education.
He came to New York when he was 12, and that's when he first started communicating. He'll be working alongside Detective Angel Familia, who has 2 deaf parents. Detective Familia isn't deaf, but his first language was sign language. He's the disability liaison in the Community Affairs Bureau and says Heriberto will expand on the department's relationship in the deaf community where schools are located.
He'll be responsible for reaching out to those commands, maintaining those relationships, and even educating some police officers on what does it look like to interact with a deaf and hard of hearing person.
Heriberto first became familiar with the NYPD's work in high school during summer youth employment, and he reached out for this new opportunity.
He's a very, very smart kid and someone that gave us a lot of insight in the previous summers that he worked with us, and we definitely wanted to expand on his relationships with the deaf community.
We like getting candidates from all walks of life, and this is probably one of the rewarding parts of the position that I serve in that we can get somebody like him.
I'm very thankful for the NYPD.
Now, the internship is paid and lasts up to 13 weeks. Once Heriberto completes the internship, he plans to continue the work and do great things for the deaf community. Reporting at NYPD headquarters, Michelle Ross, Fox 5 News.
All right, let's get a final check of the forecast. Today, rounds of showers with a high of 82 degrees. Tomorrow, the rain does clear, but the humid weather sticks around. Temperatures will be in the 90s. And that does it for us this morning. I'm Lisette Nunez. Have a great day. And remember, Fox 5 News is always streaming here on the Fox local app.